Hi everybody, welcome back to Living Traditions Homestead. My name is Sarah. Today's video is the second video in a series for a food preserving challenge that I've accepted called the Every Bit Counts Challenge, where every day in the month of August I will preserve something. Now this challenge is really an Instagram challenge that was started by my friend Jessica from Three Rivers Homestead, but because I do YouTube and Instagram, I thought it would be totally awesome to not only post every day a little bit of what I'm doing on Instagram, but then also compile all the video from all of those days into a weekly video to put on YouTube so that you all can see what I have been working on every day in the week prior preserving food for this challenge. My first video included what I preserved on days 1 through 5. So this video will be starting on day 6. Now I have a confession to make though. On day 6, I did do some preserving, but it was so late at night and I was so tired that I didn't video it. I did put some info on Instagram about it because I could just take some quick pictures. But today, which is day 7, I'm going to duplicate what I did on day 6 so that you guys can be in the loop on what I did. I have been noticing how much Kevin and the girls have been loving cucumber limeade this summer using our homegrown cucumbers. And I thought, you know, there's got to be a way that I can preserve some of that fresh taste of summer so that they can enjoy this in the winter. So what I did is made cucumber juice ice cubes so that they can turn that into cucumber limeade in the winter. So I'm going to show you how I did that. So I am going to be using, 3 or 4 cucumbers today. I'm just going to start off by peeling these cucumbers. I'm just going to cut the end off and cut these into rounds like this. Put them in my blender. I'm going to fill this about halfway up with water. And we're going to blend it up. Now I'm going to strain this through a sieve into a jar so I can really capture that cucumber flavor that I've mixed in with the water. Just going to strain it. The pulp won't get wasted. We'll actually give that to the pigs. I'm capturing this juice down here, and in the end we are going to be freezing these in ice cube trays. And so when they're done, they can just put a couple ice cubes in their glass, fill the rest up with water, add some lime juice and a little bit of sweetener, and in the winter they'll be able to have what tastes like fresh cucumber limeade. Well, that was day 6. Today is day 7, and today I have been looking around to look at the produce that we have that's just kind of laying around that I need to do something with it soon or it's going to go bad, and I hate it when that happens. So I'm going to start off with all of these cherry tomatoes. They're actually grape tomatoes. So I'm going to cut them and get them into the freeze dryer. Our plan with the freeze-dried tomatoes is to grind them up and make a powder with them so that we can either add the powder to soups or my tomato sauce to thicken it, or we can use it to make tomato paste. So what I'm going to do for the freeze dryer is just cut these in half and then just line them up in this freeze dryer tray. One layer. Now in my last video that showed the first 5 days of this challenge, I heard from a lot of you that you really want to see the end product of the freeze-dried things that we do, and so I'm going to try to be better about that for you guys. Okay, I figured out what I'm going to do on 2 of these trays. I am going to freeze dry cucumber chips, and I'm going to flavor them with dressing powder. So I love to dip cucumber pieces in creamy dill dip. I love it in ranch dressing. and I also love it in Italian dressing. So I knew that I could buy these powder packets, these dressing packets, and use them to sprinkle it on top like you would like popcorn flavoring or something like that. So I'm excited to try these 3 things. Then hopefully when they come out of the dehydrator, they'll be just like snacks, just like chips. I did order these from Azure Standard. I got a good deal because I bought multiples at a time. And then I didn't have to go to the grocery store. I could just go pick it up at my community drop-off area. So I have one more tray to just finish filling, and I have 1 zucchini that needs to be taken care of. So I am going to chop up the zucchini with my chop wizard here into chunks, into like little squares, and fill up the rest of this tray. And that will be it for day 7. It is day 8 on the Every Bit Counts challenge. Today I'm going to do something pretty simple that I started actually a couple days ago. I made another chicken for the family. We used the meat for at least 2 meals, and so I threw all of the bones into my crock pot and added some water, some seasonings, and let it cook in the crock pot for 2 days. It has turned into the most wonderful broth, and so I'm going to can that. I don't know, it's probably gonna be 4 pints, maybe a little bit more, I don't know. The nice thing about doing these small batches over a long period of time is that it really does add up, and then come winter, I have all of the broth that I need for soups. Now all stocks need to be canned in a pressure canner, so that's what I'm going to be doing today. Pint-sized jars only need to process for 20 minutes. Well, it is day 9 of the Every Bit Counts challenge, and today I'm going to be preserving some of the jalapeños that we have coming out of the garden, and I'm going to do that by pickling them with some carrots and onions and some seasonings and things like that. When we used to live in the Phoenix area, one of the favorite things that we would get at some of the Mexican restaurants would be these pickled carrots and jalapeños and onions. They would have it kind of over by the salsa bar, and we would just really love that. So today I'm going to can some in a water bath canning system, but I'm also going to make some like refrigerator pickle type things with the same stuff. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I don't have carrots from the garden, so I do have some from the grocery store. I'm going to be using onions and some garlic, but I am going to be using our homegrown jalapeños. Okay, I have everything but the jalapeños chopped up. I'm going to start filling some jars. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to just layer all of these wonderful things. Some carrots, some onions. I'm going to put in a half of a teaspoon of oregano, a bay leaf, maybe 5 black peppercorns, whole black peppercorns. I'm gonna smash a clove of garlic, put that in there, and then I'm gonna cut up one whole jalapeno. I'm gonna leave the seeds and the veins in there. Just layer this stuff. It's gonna be good. I'm also gonna add 1 teaspoon of pickling or canning salt to each one of these. Okay, now we just need to make our brine. We're gonna do that by heating it up to a boil on the stovetop. Now, generally a brine includes salt, but I put the salt in each jar just separately. So what I'm gonna be heating up on the stovetop is really vinegar water. I am going to be doing a 50% vinegar solution, which is 50% vinegar and 50% water. And I like the combination of flavors in this kind of pickling recipe of white vinegar and apple cider vinegar. So the vinegar will be half and half. So I'm gonna do a total of 8 cups of brine or pickling solution. So 4 cups of water, 4 cups of the vinegar. We're gonna be filling these jars with the vinegar mixture up to 1/2 of an inch below the tops of the jars. Then I will get the bubbles out with a chopstick, wipe off the rim, and put on a lid and a ring and put them in there. Now these are gonna process for 10 minutes. Well, because of my altitude, I'm gonna process these for 15 minutes, but we'll see you when they come out of the canner. They're gonna be beautiful. Well, you know what? In the meantime, while those are processing, I have some extra ingredients left over. I'm going to make some of the same exact thing for just in the refrigerator. Now, these are gonna take quite a while to flavor up. You should probably wait 2 or 3 weeks for them to flavor up. I have no idea if they're gonna last this long before they get eaten. But the advantage of having these in the refrigerator versus canning them is that the carrots and the peppers will stay a lot more crisp. But right now in the summer, I think it's gonna be perfect to be able to have some of these in the refrigerator. And we could just pull them out and eat them as we would like to. So like I said, I'm really gonna do the exact same thing for these refrigerator pickles, but I'm not going to worry about boiling the vinegar. I'm just gonna pour it right into the jar. Well, it is day 10 of the Every Bit Counts challenge. Today I have 25 tomatoes that need to be processed in some way. And this year, our greatest need in the pantry for over the winter is diced tomatoes. That's the first thing that I need to use these tomatoes for. I'm gonna can more. Now, last week I did diced tomatoes, and about 35 tomatoes made 12 pints of diced tomatoes. So with 25, I'm thinking maybe I'll get 8 to 10 pint jars. So that's what we're gonna be working on today. Same exact process as last week as I showed you in the video. First we need to core them, then skin them, chop them up, load the jars, and get them in the canner. Just like last week, I will be water bath canning these tomatoes. And I will be using citric acid in each jar to increase the acidity level to make sure that the acid level of the tomatoes is high enough to be safely canned in a water bath canner. So I'm using a 1/4 teaspoon of citric acid per pint jar. I'm working on diced tomatoes, as I said, so I'm just going to cut these tomatoes into just the size of diced pieces that I want in my jars. It really isn't difficult. You can do whatever size you desire. Now the instructions for how to do this type of canning with tomatoes are in my favorite canning book called The Ball Complete Book of Home Preserving. I talk about this all the time. It is in our Amazon shop if you want to take a look. I'm going to use a chopstick to try to get some of those air bubbles out before I fill it. You can see just how juicy these tomatoes are. Well, those 25 tomatoes ended up making 11 pints. So I must have had larger tomatoes this time than I did last time. Doing it this way is a little bit different than normal canning because they were raw packs, so not everything is super hot. I don't have to add any liquid. So I just need to make sure to clean off the rim to make sure there's no food debris on it. Put a clean lid on there. Tighten it to fingertip tight, not too tight. And then we can just load up the canner. It is day 11 of the Every Bit Counts challenge, and I'm back at it today. This morning I went out to our zucchini and summer squash area that we have planted in a raised bed garden, and I harvested these. Now these are lemon squash. They're a summer squash that look like and are shaped like a lemon. They don't taste like lemons at all, but I really do enjoy them. Nice mild flavor. And then I also found some gargantuan zucchini. Apparently I should have been out there a couple days ago, but I found some giant zucchini. So today what I'm going to be doing is preparing some more of our harvest for the freeze dryer. I'm going to be cutting up more zucchini, and then I also have this basket of bell peppers that we picked from our farm garden. And isn't this basket cool, you guys? Kevin made this for me a few years ago, and it's just so cool, and I absolutely love it. So I'm gonna be chopping up those kinds of things for the freeze dryer. The nice thing about the freeze dryers is that that process retains almost all of the nutrients in the food that you put in it and preserve in it. Unlike dehydrating, unlike canning, which loses nutrients as it's being processed and as it sits on the shelves. That's one of the main reasons we are using a freeze dryer. Also, the fact that it is really a great long-term storage option for us to preserve what we're harvesting, what we're growing and raising on our homestead. Now, freeze drying will never 100% replace canning for us. I do enjoy canning. I can do a lot of work, a lot of preserving in one day, really fill up the shelves quickly, whereas there are some space limitations with the freeze dryer. So we'll continue doing both. So I'm gonna get these things ready for this freeze dryer, and this is what I'm going to accomplish for the day. You guys, sometimes you got days that are just filled with other things. And so I can't spend the entire day preserving things from the garden. Tomorrow, maybe I'll be able to, but today I just have other things to do. So I'm going to quickly get these things ready to put in the freeze dryer so I can move on with the rest of my day. So here is the end result for my day. I ended up getting 2.5 of those large zucchini chopped up with my chopper to fill up 2 trays. And then really that entire basket of bell peppers chopped up is what filled these 2 trays. Okay guys, so I have brought in the cherry tomatoes, the cucumbers, and the little bit of zucchini that we put through the freeze dryer, and I want to show you what it looks like and show you how we're going to package it up. Here are the cherry tomatoes, more cherry tomatoes, the zucchini. Here are the cucumber chips with the dill dip mix. And then the cucumbers with the Italian dressing mix and the ranch. Now I need to move quickly because I don't want these to start rehydrating in the humidity. So I'm just gonna put these, the separate flavors of the cucumber chips in different jars. I'm not packaging these for long-term storage because I think we're just gonna eat them right away. So I'm just trying to hurry here. Okay, so we have those 3. I'm gonna move quickly with the zucchini because I am gonna package that for long-term storage. Now, for long-term storage on these freeze-dried items, the best thing for you to store them in are Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers. We have these awesome big funnels. Actually, a YouTube subscriber sent us this. And I'm just gonna scoop these, and a YouTube subscriber sent us these. These are awesome scoopers. Normally I have Kevin help me with this, but today he's down at the farm mowing. Always, always mowing. Now I wanna get these cherry tomatoes. Remember, I told you we were gonna powder these and then store them in powdered form so that we can thicken up sauces or make tomato paste. So I'm gonna get these into a blender. Okay, so let's see how this goes. The powder is wonderful. Let me show you. Now this looks to be only like a cup. I think that's pretty awesome anyway. Put 1 of the oxygen absorbers in with the tomatoes, 1 of them in with the zucchini. And now we're just gonna seal these with this heat sealer. I do want to tell you that the cherry tomatoes took way longer than I thought that they would. Next time, instead of cutting them in half, I'm going to cut them in quarters and see if that helps. But that means that the zucchini and the green peppers that have been waiting to go into the freeze dryer, they might not get done before the end of this week for me to show you guys. But if that's the case, I'll wait until the next video and show you when they come out of the freeze dryer. Oh, I forgot to try the cucumbers. I was in such a hurry to get things packaged up before they started like rehydrating. So let me try these cucumber chips. These are the cucumber chips with the dill dip seasoning that I bought from Azure Standard. So let me try them. You can hear that they're crunchy. Those are really good. I'm gonna eat those real quick. This is the ranch style, ranch dressing powder. Also very good, a little more oniony. I definitely prefer the dill dip over those 2. Now this is the Italian dressing chips, cucumber chips. Very crunchy. I love it. These are very good, but they have a little kick to them, which isn't bad. Very good. You guys, I think this is a winner. Even though our cucumber harvest is almost done, this is definitely something that you should try if you have a freeze dryer and have an abundance of cucumbers, but this is definitely something that we're gonna do more in the future. I love these little experiments. Today is day 12 of the Every Bit Counts challenge, the preservation challenge, where every single day in the month of August, I'm going to be preserving something. Well, this morning before the sun was really intense, before it was shining on my herbs, I went outside and I picked a bunch of basil. Now it's been a little bit of time yet, so it looks like they're starting to wilt, but I'm gonna be making pesto. Our family loves pesto, and I want to tell you a little secret, it freezes like a dream. So today I am going to be harvesting all of the leaves off of all of these branches of basil. First job is to pick every one of these leaves off of here and just put it in a bowl. If the leaves are clean and they don't have a lot of bug debris or anything on them, you actually don't need to wash the leaves or the branches before you make the pesto. Sometimes I wash them, sometimes I don't. This morning I did wash them, but I made sure that afterwards I shook all of the water that I could off of it, and I laid them out on a towel so that they could dry. And the reason I do this is because using wet basil to make pesto makes like runny, soupy pesto. So I recommend that you don't wash it if you absolutely don't have to, but if you do have to, make sure that you let it dry before you start making it. Well, that is about 10 cups, roughly. So I need to get out my recipe and calculate how many of the other ingredients I need to make this pesto. So pesto is a very simple recipe. You whip it up in a food processor and you have pesto. It's fantastic. So let's blend up our first batch. Okay, we are starting with 6 cloves of garlic. There's 3, 6. We're gonna blend that up real quick. We're gonna add our basil leaves. We're adding 4 cups of basil leaves. And we're gonna add the nuts. Now, traditionally, you would use pine nuts. I've also used almonds, but today we're using walnuts because that's what we have. And they're also a very mild flavored nut. We're gonna get this going, and while it's running, we're gonna add 1 cup of olive oil. I'm gonna add some salt, some pepper, and I'm gonna add 1 cup of Parmesan cheese and blend it up. Let's see what we have. Now with that amount of leaves, I was able to get 2.5 batches of that recipe. You can see how much this gave me, a nice mixing bowl. Now I realized that I was kind of distracted when I was going over that recipe for you, so I thought I would just repeat it for you quickly in the quantities. So I was able to do 2.5 batches, and each batch included 6 cloves of garlic, 4 cups of basil, salt and pepper, 1/3 of a cup of nuts. It was actually kind of a rounded 1/3 of a cup of nuts, 1 cup of olive oil, and 1 cup of Parmesan. Now, we have found that for a meal for our family, 1 cup of pesto is enough for a whole meal. So I freeze them in freezer bags, flat, in 1 cup increments, because that way I know that's what I can pull out and use for a meal. So I'm gonna fill up my 1 cup measuring cup here with pesto and put them in some freezer bags, and then we can tell at the end how many meals worth of pesto that we made. So this batch of pesto made 3 meals worth, so 3 cups for the freezer and 1 cup for dinner tonight, so 4 total cups of pesto. That is day 12 of the Every Bit Counts challenge. Well, here in front of me, you can see the entire week's worth of preserving that I've done. I just want to go over it with you and remind you of the things that we have accomplished together this week. I freeze-dried some cucumber chips. These are actually going to be snacks for us. And even though it won't be in long-term storage, we'll probably eat them up in the next week or 2. I'm counting it anyway. Also in the freeze dryer, we made some tomato powder, which I'm really excited about. We freeze-dried some diced zucchini. And also still in the freeze dryer, because the tomatoes took longer than I had expected, we have 4 trays in there. 2 trays of zucchini and 2 trays of peppers. I expect those to give me 3-quart bags like this of green peppers and 3-quart bags of the diced zucchini. Also this week, we preserved 4 pints of chicken broth, 11 pints of diced tomatoes, 5 pints of pickled carrots, jalapeños, and onions, 1 quart of the same thing as refrigerator pickles. We made 4 meals but froze 3 of our homemade pesto, and then 6 ice cube trays of cucumber juice so that Kevin and the girls can have cucumber limeade in the winter. Now, if you're on Instagram, make sure you're following us on Instagram because I'm posting every day as I preserve something. And also follow my friend Jessica from Three Rivers Homestead because she is a creator of this challenge and she inspires me every day. Now, if you like what's going on here, you know that a ton of people are also doing this. So follow the hashtag EveryBitCountsChallenge to find tons more ideas. Next week, I'll be back with another video showing you everything that I preserve next week. So make sure you come back. I want to thank you so much for stopping by our homestead. Take care and God bless.